An AEW star claims that he has been suspended by the company. A WWE wrestler has been removed from the roster, and WWE Draft plans have been revealed. Stay tuned, it's time for the news. Bit of a weird one to kick things off, not quite sure what to make of it. Max Caster claims that he's been suspended by AEW. Yesterday on Twitter, Max Caster, quote retweeting a fan asking if he's still with AEW with a simple message, I am suspended. It's unclear at this time whether Max Caster is being Max Caster and just misbehaving on Twitter again.
Yes, which has been a thing that he's been doing for a little while at this point. It feels like it's sort of maybe tying into some kind of gimmick where maybe either he will turn like proper heel, or maybe just the Acclaimed as a whole will turn heel. Obviously, this sort of comes as well after a bit of a, people online controversial bit of rap that he did at Dynasty.
So he did 2 raps at Dynasty. He came out first, did one to music, and then he did a second rap. And people are sort of accusing him of maybe going off script, saying that because all of these have to be cleared by Tony Khan. People are saying that this second one, and I quote, "Switchblades, what I switch. I fulfill your legacy, and I'll make you my bitch. Yo, this dude's just making me sick. I'll violate you so bad you'll have to tell the legal team about the taste of my..." He didn't get it in time.
He didn't. He got the mic pulled away from him, which makes me feel like it was probably a scripted thing.
But he got there really late with the he basically just said the word. So yeah, Dave Meltzer was saying that he thinks he might get in trouble for saying that. I can't work this out. I think you're being maybe optimistic with hey, this is a heel turn. Part of me thinks that hey, Max Caster realizes that the Acclaimed aren't as hot as they once were. That's a dead cert, isn't it? And he's trying to reinvigorate things with a heel turn. There's part of me that's just a little bit worried about him. I'm not sure he's very well at the moment. He lost his dad fairly recently, and he's just not doing especially well, it seems. So I'm not sure what part of this is real and what part isn't real. I don't know if he's been suspended. I think he might be messing about. Yeah, but that's all speculation as well. I hope he's all right. I think people are maybe being a little bit unfair. I think people are like, with this battle rap, people were like, oh, that's too far, that's offensive and all that sort of stuff. And they're always close to the line. Sometimes they go over the line, sure, but that's the whole point. That's what got them over in the first place. These raps, when he's come into the ring, that's what people loved about them. I can't help but think people are doing a bit of a pile on to a bloke that might not be in the best of places at the moment. I don't know. Again, pure speculation. He did wrestle last night for Wrestling Open, teaming with Bobby Orlando to take on the Batiri. So he's still working in everything. This also plays into our next story because it looks like they might, if Max isn't suspended, be having a match coming up very soon, because it's been announced that the Grizzled Young Veterans ex-NXT tag team set to make their debut in AEW on this week's Collision. They cut a promo saying, Acclaimed, you two a bit... I can't do the scout. Can you do Scouse?
No. I thought Owen.
Acclaimed. I don't know what that was.
You two have been on our radar for a few years now.
Two lads with unrivaled potential, but how you choose to use that potential, that doesn't sit right with us. Too caught up in making your funny little jokes, too busy scissoring each other. You two are an embarrassment to this job that we love. And then Drake followed up with, so this Saturday on Collision, you two lads are going to learn a very, very important lesson from the veterans. It'll be interesting to see if this match does go ahead. I think it probably will, because I'm not sure I buy what Max Caster's saying, but time will tell. They are one of the best tag teams going. As far as like promos go, they're both great, but Gibson has always stood out as just an unbelievable talker, and we saw that in the promo. And in the ring, they're not too shabby either.
No,
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Like, it's been so nice to see them go off from NXT and just like get back to where they've always been the best in just terms of their wrestling acumen, even just their characters as well. Just really, really, really good. And it's weird that... I mean, they tapped into it obviously a little bit within WWE because they were themselves to begin with.
For a bit.
For a little while. And then obviously we had the whole schism stuff, and that went...
It's mental because like sometimes I understand why you would want to repackage people who maybe aren't getting over as you would like them to. they had like a really well-defined gimmick, and they were crazy popular. They everybody really enjoyed what they were doing, and then they made them all spooky, and it was really weird. They requested their release, they weren't granted it, they ended up getting the release, or they might have had to even just wait for it to fully expire. I can't remember, it was close to. Best of luck to them. They've just announced that they're starting their own promotion as well. Burning Heart Pro Wrestling, first show on June 21st at the Liverpool Olympia.
Nice.
We'll move on. A WWE wrestler has been removed from the roster. He's been moved from the active roster to the alumni section on the website. Andrew's a big star, a big fan of this star. So you are a big star as well. You're a big fan of this guy. So I'll let you talk about the man in question.
Thank you so much. The man in question is Guru Raj, everybody. Now, Guru Raj last appeared in the ring taking on Scripps on NXT in November of 2022. He was on NXT Level Up, 205 Live as well. Many people will probably remember him. Hopefully, at least anyway. He was part of the first Superstar Spectacle show in January 2021, where he took on, in his first match, I believe, at least televised anyway, against Finn Balor for the NXT Championship.
I watched that. That's a hell of a way to get things going, isn't it? You know what? He was decent in the ring. I don't know enough about him. I'm not going to poke fun. It's crap because it looks like he's lost his job. Maybe he was released at the same time as some of the other releases that we've seen this week, but they didn't put out a statement about it. It might have been a while ago because, as you say, he's not had a match in an awful long time, but best of luck to him with whatever he does next. An interesting bit of trivia here as well, which is mad. That Superstar Spectacle show that you might remember, none of the 10 Indian talents that were on that show are with WWE anymore, which makes me think, are they like toning down their expansion into India? They saw it as a massive market. Obviously, like there are lots and lots of people, very passionate wrestling fans over there as well, and people that like living out there who probably want to see people that look like them. They want to be represented on WWE TV. I don't think it's a great look to just release the majority of the Indian talent at the same time in the same week. I'm baffled by that decision.
It's, like you said, it's such a huge market. You would think they'd want to tap into that. I'm not sure, not being a UFC person or anything like that, I don't really know the market for UFC in India either, to be honest. So maybe something with the merger is keeping them from wanting to tap into that market for whatever reason. But yeah, you would think that they want to at least capitalize on that a little bit.
Because it seemed like a relatively aggressive expansion into India. Like them doing that show, there was big money out there. They hired and rehired various Indian wrestlers to do this, so we'll keep you updated on that. Yeah. We're going to finish with a bit of WWE Draft news. I'm going to be live streaming it tonight. If you want to check that out, you can set a reminder right now, youtube.com/cultaholic/live. Andrew and Tom went over some of the rules yesterday, and we'll quickly just recap that in case you missed it, but we now know who's going to be drafted on what night, or who's eligible to be drafted on what night. So it's kicking off tonight on SmackDown. There's going to be 4 rounds on SmackDown consisting of 2 draft picks for each brand. Monday, same format, but 6 rounds of draft picks. SmackDown having the first pick on Friday, Raw getting the first pick on Monday. New rosters going into effect on Monday, May 6th, following Backlash. NXT talents also eligible to be drafted, but not named in the ones that we're going forward with. And no champions being drafted, except for the women's champions.
Yes, the women's tag team champs, who they can obviously, because those tag team titles sort of float between the brands as it is anyway. However, whenever they lose the belts, wherever they may have been drafted to, that is where they will then go.
Yes. Right. So Friday, we'll go through the ones that we could see be drafted tonight. All of these superstars eligible to be drafted. We have got AJ Styles, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. We've got Alpha Academy, which is all of them, by the way. That's Chad, Otis, Akira, and Maxine. Andrade, Bianca Belair, Bron Breakker, Cedric Alexander, and Ashante the Adonis. Ivar, Jey Uso, LA Knight, Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Randall Keith, Ricochet, Seth Rollins, Shayna Baszler, Sheamus, The Bloodline, which is including Roman Reigns, that's Roman, Solo, and Tama Tonga, as well as Paul Heyman, of course. The OC, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Michin, and Zoe Stark. No massive surprises. There's a few little interesting bits there. Roman Reigns being drafted alongside the Bloodline. storyline. Obviously, he's officially still part of that group. Who knows where that's heading moving forward. But nothing too substantial. I guess Alpha Academy is interesting. I mean, Chad's still with them at the moment. We don't know how much longer that's going to last, but they will be drafted as a big group. As for Raw,
we've got Apollo Crews, Braun Strowman, Bronson Reed, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, CM Punk, the Creed brothers, that's Julius Creed and Brutus Creed, and Ivy Nile as well. Damage Control, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and the Kabuki Warriors. We've got DIY, Drew McIntyre, The Final Testament, which is Karrion Kross, AOP, Scarlett and Paul Ellering, Giovanni Vinci, Imperium, which is Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser, because they are now split, Jade Cargill, Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and JD Madonna. Obviously, you've got Damian Priest as the World Heavyweight Champion, so he isn't going anywhere. Caden Carter and Katana Chance, Kevin Owens, Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Angel, Berto, and Elektra Lopez, LWO, Rey Mysterio, Carlito, Dragon Lee, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wild, and Zelina Vega. We've got Naomi, Natalia, New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, Odyssey Jones. He's back again.
He made such an impact after he was drafted the first time.
Oh my God, please do it again. Just do it again. We got Pretty Deadly, which is Elton Prince and Kit Wilson, Shinsuke Nakamura, Tegan Knox, The Pride, Bobby Lashley, Street Profits and BFAB, and finally Tiffany Stratton.
So the interesting one for me there, first of all, it's also interesting that Jimmy Uso isn't listed. He's out. He's injured at the moment, obviously.
And I was thinking that Seth Rollins is obviously in there. It's not been has it been announced that Seth is injured in any way?
He's just beat up. He's been injured forever, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I don't think they've gone, this is what's wrong with him. He's just taking time off.
Yeah. So Jimmy Uso and Rhea Ripley not in there as well.
Women's
Both with
champion.
injuries at the moment, but the women's title stuff, I would imagine Rhea will probably stay on Raw to regain that title.
Which makes me think Judgment Day probably will as well. But when Rhea comes back, she's going to be a big baby face, and she might end up doing that away from Judgment Day. Who knows what the state of Judgment Day is going to be. Damage Control is an interesting one for me as well, because you've got the Kabuki Warriors in there. They're eligible for draft. They're the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. So the fact that they've said they are eligible to be drafted means they're being drafted, of course, because they wouldn't specify that. So that makes me think that all of Damage Control are probably going to end up on Raw. Rather than, it's not going to be NXT, is it? I would assume anyway. Interesting stuff. One final reminder, I'll be live on YouTube tonight, 1 a.m, youtube.com/cultaholic/live to chat all about it and watch the show with you lovely lot. We'll be back with more news very, very shortly. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.